We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
And now, Reality Rants with Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Yo, let's go. Oh, I can't hear you.
It's because I'm muted, like a jerk. Yeah, thank you.
No worries. Thought something that broke over here. We were in trouble.
No, it's always on my. Well, not always on my end. I shouldn't say that because it isn't always on my end, even when I'm talking to the producers. But one of the reasons I do the longer intro nowadays is because we're streaming to 4 different platforms from this end alone, right? And then when Red Voice picks it up, they don't do this show live. They'll repost this, but they're doing Podbean and their Rumble stream and the private stream all at once as well. They got a TriCaster going. A lot of moving parts. They're actually training a new person there. I'm over here, and that Rumble, I was a little worried it wasn't going to go through. Rumble did an interface change, so everything looks just a little different. It looks like it's just a new skin, new graphics or whatever, but it wasn't starting up. It didn't start up until the Running Man bit, so like a minute and 20 in. So people wonder why I do that. I want to have something there, just kind of pad things in case we want to get all this out. Although I don't think we can play this entire video on YouTube. We'll probably just go back to Rockfin and Rumble and maybe some Twitter. We don't usually leave Twitter at some point here, but I'm sure you know about the classified documents by now, right?
It's been busy. Classified documents. Which classified? The Twitter files?
No. Okay,
Oh
Fitch is not seeing this, and I'll be honest. I guess
there's more new classified.
Yeah,
files.
I went to news stories right here, and I was kind of. First of all, I threw on the Tuckster, the little Tuckins. I watch the Tuckins when he comes on, old Tuckarooski, and he's talking about how now we know the Department of Justice had an investigation that showed that Biden had files that were classified in his private office. Okay. Tomatoes, the Trump thing. Now, here's what's weird to me about it. Okay. First of all of it's really a non-story once you're the president. Let's make that very clear. If those documents were in there before he was the president, that's super shady. But of course you can point out the hypocrisy. Obviously. Yeah. But if everybody caught
no one cares. Come on, it's 2023. No one cares about hypocrisy. This isn't like 2010.
Well, here's what's weird.
It's been over a decade. People yell about hypocrisy. Like, what are you going to do about it?
This is what's making me interested in the story. Okay. Because, and in one respect, John, I think that this may be the way that the quote-unquote left gets rid of Biden on some technicality. I think that's a long shot interpretation, but I'm going to tell you why right now. Because where is the peanut butter salad, and why in the hell is the luggage torpedo on the dining room, folks? And Joe Biden has no idea where he is half the time. And to reiterate that, that's why I came up with the clever title / thumbnail. I'm going to show everybody a video where it looks, first of all, nothing good is coming to this conversation that's happening Joe Biden style right here. But it looks as though Joe Biden is so confused that when he gets introduced to the Salvation Army guy, he thinks he's a Secret Service guy.
Very confused old man.
And you can see the look on the guy's face like, what the hell is this guy talking about? You decide for yourself. This is the guy they're telling you, everybody. I just want everybody to know.
Running?
This is the guy they're telling you.
He doesn't change his own diaper.
He's running the country. This guy, okay?
And here we have folks from the Salvation Army who also have been
He's talking to the Salvation Army guy, thinks he's talking to a Secret Service guy, maybe lying about some other story with the Secret Service because he doesn't know what's going on. So let me now go into an analysis because we're going to watch this CNN video. This is another reason I think that this might be a takedown of Joe Biden. The first article, if you just you don't have to type in Joe Biden, you don't have to type in Donnie T, you don't have to type in anything. You just type in classified documents. Okay, the words classified documents. You know what the first thing on Google search is? You ready?
Biden, they're setting him up, making sure it's
CNN politics, John. Classified documents from Biden's time as VP discovered in private office. Wait, there's more. Let's watch this piece together.
We have sound of current President Biden addressing the handling of classified documents and the care in which he believes they should be handled. And we should listen to that. I think we have this.
When you saw the photograph of the top secret documents laid out on the floor at Mar-a-Lago, what did you think to yourself, looking at that image?
How that could possibly happen. How anyone could be that irresponsible. And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera. And it's just totally irresponsible.
Totally irresponsible. And I just want to be...
So let's just stop. So they play that in preface to throw him to the wolves further here with Wolf Blitzer leading the way, John. This is pretty wild. Like, it looks like they're getting ready to get rid of him.
Precise. That was released on CBS 60 Minutes on September 18th, 2022, about a month or so before, maybe 2 months before they found similar documents at the Biden private office.
Right, exactly. The president obviously was not, according to the statement that we received from the White House, was not at that point aware of the discovery of these items. But what it will call into question is, just as the president made this mistake, or someone made this mistake and transported these documents to the Penn Biden Center, just as easily someone could have done this in the case of former President Donald Trump. And the question to the Justice Department is, are you treating them differently? Obviously, the Trump investigation, we know, has taken a much different turn, right? You have months and months between where the archives was asking for these documents to be returned. We know that the former president basically thought that these documents belonged to him. He considered them personal. Because
and he said he could declassify
and he could
just by thinking about it.
Right. We've heard of various explanations for why this entire process happened the way it did. So we'll see whether the Justice Department views this case to be something.
So just to do that, and that's the first thing that comes up when you search classified documents, really lets me know. I think they're getting ready because he's not there, man. And I mean, do they want him to drop dead on live television? That's a real thing. I'm not kidding. Like, he's not up most of the time. Like, most of the time that he's up, he's on camera. Like, other than the prep time. Seriously.
It's ugly. It's just, let's go. Come on. Move it on. He's done. He's done. It's an embarrassment. Wait, they've got to start ushering him out because they can't let him run again.
That's the question you got to ask yourself.
Like? How's he going to campaign? How's he going to do a debate?
Well, I mean, they're not debating anymore, and the deep fakes are getting better, and like the public messages, and they can weekend at Bernie's all day, I guess, as long as he's got some kind of a pulse.
True.
You think, the real lunatics out there will tell you that he's been cloned anyway, or he's a robot, or I'm hearing a lot about doubles these days. You know what? It is known that presidents sometimes have decoys or doubles, and maybe to record some things, maybe something like that has happened. I'll give you a maybe in the realm of plausibility, but when you see him going around to World Economic Forum events, when you see him down at the Salvation Army, that's not an actor. That's not somebody playing him. That's not a clone. That's Joe Biden.
Old Joe. That's Dementia Joe.
That's
him.
That's the shell of Joey B. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at a decrepit, it's over, we're sorry kind of guy. I mean, again, why in the hell is the luggage torpedo on the dining room? Like, he doesn't know what's going on most of the time, folks. I'm just telling you right now. He's running nothing. Kamala Harris is running nothing. In fact, let's talk about the documents themselves, because they could actually be serious documents. I want to make that very clear.
Mm-hmm. And where did these come from? And they just so happen to come out right around now?
No, they're just talking about them now. They've had them since November. That's the whole thing. So again, you find out with the Hunter Biden laptop or whatever. At least that's what we know. The story is November now. I'll bet you anything. Let's roll the dice on it. There was another investigation that led to other questionable document handling somewhere else at another time that got them to this location. So there's actually going to have an idea of earlier, okay? But it'll be some technicality. Well, we only knew about these documents in November, okay? In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it was lower level extensions of obviously the investigations into his son and the corruption in the Ukraine, right? Or maybe lower level investigations that were going on in the Trump administration that led to that. I would say that's all possibilities. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about these documents. Here's what I think is happening. They come to old man Joey B. Again, doesn't have a clue what's going on most of the time at all. They come to him, they say, hey, Mr. B, Joey, Mr. Biden, sir, there are some documents that I think that you're going to want in your possession and need to review. And they're going to tie up some loose administrations that you may be involved with in the Biden Obama administration. And he goes, Obama? Yeah, no, Obama. I love Obama. And then someone takes away his half-eaten pudding pop and they say, listen, focus, Joe. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need
or he starts openly talking about all the crimes they committed. Remember that time we dumped all those guns in Mexico?
He's like, same weekend, all those hookers mysteriously died at that hotel. Oh. If hookers was code word for young boys. Anyway, I didn't mean it. We're having fun. We're having fun. Yeah. But the reality is, let's go back to reality. That's all parody, folks. I don't think any of that stuff, no gun running or boy smuggling or prostitute having. I've got no evidence of that. I don't want to be accused of spreading misinformation. Anyway, I mean, the guy's only in his daughter's own personal diaries of possibly taking inappropriate showers with her. And I mean, his son only had him in the phone as Pedo Peter. I mean, that's no reason for me to joke about that and make a gag. Anyway.
All circumstantial. Purely circumstantial.
That's right. That's damn straight, Mr. Fish.
Come on.
Damn straight.
Where's your law degree?
So anyway, I think it's more like this. And then basically he signs the forms, and then whatever minion goes and gets the documents from the archives, right? And then they put them there as leverage. So I think there's a good chance they were planted there. They haven't been there for years and years and years. For instance, I don't think you're going to find out.
Nothing's an accident.
Well, it's not an accident this is coming out, right? Or that it's been investigated. Yeah. Exactly. It's leverage all the way. Listen, Joe Biden doesn't run anything, guys. I can't even believe we're sitting here debating whether I can't believe anybody could look at you straight in the face and think that guy, again, he doesn't run anything. I want to talk
He doesn't wipe himself.
Thank you.
He does not wipe himself. He's not running anything.
At all.
He's got runs in his drawers.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it is.
That's it.
I hate to let everybody down and to know the reality, but that's the reality.
He can barely sniff children's hair.
And when he tries to, he falls off bikes. Like literally drawn in by a small child fell off a bike. Mm-hmm. It's out of control. So now, you know, and that's the thing. That's the other thing. I got to sit here. We got to make jokes, right? But like those videos are very real. Like who would want to be around that person who's on? Can you imagine? All right, let me give everybody a scenario here. A big scenario. You grow up with somebody. They're, you know, a peripheral buddy, but you got pictures with them because you played baseball with them, and they're a good guy, you know, or gal or whatever. And, you know, you grow up, you keep in touch, everybody's a buddy, blah, 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 blah. And then like 15, 20 years later, this person is into politics. Because usually around late 30s, early 40s, that's when they're there. They rise up. And then later on, you see them aggressively sniffing and touching children. Aren't you going to be like, what is going on? Like you would point that out. You see,
that's the thing. It's probably not a new behavior. It's probably like, oh, there goes Joe again.
I mean,
you remember that? You remember Sniffy Joe?
I guess, man. But you would think that back in the day, Sniffy Joe, I mean, you do that around kids, and fucking people don't put up with it. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. And like we're talking about, I know things were different in the 70s and 80s, and yeah, there's a lot of teenage stuff out there. But we've seen him aggressively on camera touch kids that are like 5 or under, infants on camera. That's our president of the United States. Forget about all the bullshit that he puts out there. Forget about the terrible legislation that he signed on behalf of these people and then bragged after the event. He loves to brag. Well, son of a bitch. He loved bragging about getting the Ukrainian prosecutor fired that was investigating his son's firm and his son directly. Loved it. Couldn't get enough of it. He bragged. He bragged at that Global One Fund or whatever after he was introduced by Bill Gates that they were going to have a 31-to-1 return on their investment and that they passed the climate change bill.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, and he's like, we passed the climate bill. Like the Inflation Reduction Act. I mean, he brags about it afterwards. And by the way, guys.
Gotcha. Gotcha, bitch. Gotcha.
Everybody knows it's the Global Fund is what it's called. And everybody actually see the media doesn't report on him like bragging about it in his moments of lunacy and everybody cheering. They report on him when he walks over and he shakes nobody's hand. He stops and he looks down at the Secret Service and he stops again. And then he has to wait for the big ta-da with Macron and Trudeau and all those assholes. I almost want to bring that video up because that's classic. Again, why in the hell is the luggage torpedo on the dining room, John? Why is it on the dining room, John? Where the hell's my peanut butter salad? It's meanwhile, you know, we're in an ongoing real military conflict, John, in case everybody knows it's still going on.
Yep.
Just signed off on a budget that's just going to cripple the economy. Eggs nationwide are averaging, if you're lucky to find them at under $5 for a dozen, good for you, and averaging more in like the $7 a dozen range.
I eat a lot of eggs, man. That's not good. Like the meat has been skyrocketing in price too. It's not good, man.
You know, I think I got another quarter cow coming right now. And my cow and my pig that I got did last me about a year. And a lot of people don't eat it with me, but I've always got grillins for the fights on weekends when we do all eat. So I'm not starving, you know, as long as I got electricity to freeze it. You know, I'm trying to get my bulk in, and that's a lot of meat. You know, I fill up a pretty big freezer. You know, it's not a giant freezer, but it's pretty damn big.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, anybody that has that option, you're looking for solutions. Everybody's like, Bermas doesn't give any solutions. Buck up right now. Say, you know, everybody's got a budget for Christmas. Hopefully most of you aren't borrowing against credit cards because that's just foolish. But put together somewhere between $800 and $1,200 and pick 2 animals you like a lot. And if you've got that free, and you know what? I bought my freezer at a Salvation Army for $40.
Oh wow, that's good.
Oh, it's amazing. It's like a $300 freezer. You know, it's a top one. It runs great. Yeah. And that's what I did. You know, be that guy, be that person. People don't understand. I am that guy. Like even the road show, even what I did with my girlfriend, right? So she's on Red Voice Media. Everybody, I hope you're checking out her shows as well. They're starting to look better. Why? This was Christmas, guys. You know, she's always frustrated that she's got to add the lower thirds and edit people in. But okay, XSplit. We got you XSplit. We built you a virtual set, and let's show it since we've got it somewhere here. It's gonna be easy to find. Yeah, right here. So anybody can do this on the cheap, guys. I'm just letting everybody know. This is literally the desk we set up at her house, and basically that's it. So she actually has another laptop, same one that like different model or whatever, but does a lot of the same things that I got at a pawn shop, $400. I have the mixer stuff. She's got a USB mic, great, Yeti, awesome. But then you look at the monitors here. You know, this is a monitor. I got the little one, like a $10 Velcro monitor. I Velcroed onto this. This is a $15 buy. The stand was a Christmas present I got off of Amazon. You can get them between like the cheapest one. I didn't go. The cheapest was like $50 or $60. Most was $100, and the other one's a $20 monitor. That's it, guys. And then you got some cables. You got now she's got a whole production studio. We also got the gamer chair, John. And we also got the gamer chair just so she could be comfy.
Game chair.
Yeah. But I'm just saying anybody can do it. You know, you just got to have the will to do it.
Yep.
That's it. I mean, I'm embarrassed by the media. Think about how much better John and I do it right now than what you're getting.
You know, I mean, they're not really like journalists. It's all PR stuff, either for the state media or for corporations. It's all sales. It's all like pro wrestling, rah nonsense. Like they're not doing journalism.
Did you see the Fallon dance?
That was the most pathetic thing I've ever seen.
How much money's worth somebody's soul, do you think? Because, like, back in the day...
Exactly, probably as much as he's getting paid, that much. Whatever he's making, that's probably it for a lot of people.
That's the mark? Here's how I look at it, right? There was a time where that was kind of the gig as a comedian, right? Johnny Carson.
I think he has to do it for a lot less because he's really not that talented.
Well, I think that there's also, Carson was alone. You know what I mean? At the time, there was really nobody that competed until, you had the break with then Leno and Letterman, and then it was kind of wide open, right? That's when Conan O'Brien also got popular for later, and everybody had these late night shows. A lot of people ended up making.
Podcasting's blown up so much too. Like, people don't watch the late talk shows anymore.
Mm-hmm. I'll get that. Well,
because they're still on networks and they're still not being as long form and unedited and open and cussing and stuff as the podcast. I think people are just more interested in the podcast.
The podcasts are better, right? Like that's usually what I listen to, or what
way
I do.
More intimate. You feel like you get to hear the real people. There's like too much performance on the big network shows.
I also, what I'm finding that I also like to do, because you're right. I like the internet in the background, especially when I'm doing stuff and when I'm trying to find news and interesting topics and maybe something I'm missing. But when I'm at the, not so much the pawn shops, because usually their DVD selection is lame, but all the thrift shops that I go to. I go to a ton of those where I find a lot of stuff. And I just found Space Race, right? It's just, doesn't tell you a lot about it. It just says it's NASA. It was in the aluminum, right? It was in the hardcover. I'm like, all right, 2-disc set. Let's see what this is. And I grab it, and it's this, I think each disc is almost 4 hours long, maybe even more. It's about 8 hours, this thing. And it's basically the whole history of NASA, as told by NASA, their own engineers, from 1963 to this whole narration is taking place.
The German ones, the German NASA.
They actually have a lot of archive footage in the beginning where they're openly talking about not only von Braun, but other people that worked with them. And then they're playing clips of them with heavy German accents. I'm not gonna lie, that's why I like this stuff. I wish I had it. I think I have it in the other room, but I ripped it. And it's just super interesting because I'm watching it, and basically, it was almost like internal propaganda too, because it was from 1963 to 1985. And then I'm watching it, and they've got it broken up to like these 18 to 24 minute segments with this host. And I'm like, who is this guy? So I look him up, bro. And of course, he's this NASA engineer who went through, like, he was with them until 99, and he had all these other bureaucratic jobs after. I was reading yesterday, out of nowhere, these prophets of doom, right? It was this article, Washington Post. Somebody had posted it, and they were predicting that in, 17 years, that we'd be 18 feet. I think it was 18 feet, not even inches. 18 feet, the sea level was going to go up, just devastating humanity if we didn't take action. It was something ridiculous, right? And of course, I go to read it on air. This was, I think, yesterday. And of course, it's from somebody that works at goddamn NASA. Everybody wonders why I talk. Dude, it's really interesting because one of the great things about this, whether it's told by them or not, the archive footage is unbelievable. Like, you really get to see all the types of models they built, the suits they were putting these dudes in, like the real deal. So I'm interested in that's the kind of dorky shit that I want to know about. I wish more people were dorky like me and putting raw stuff up there so I didn't have to find it at thrift shops, but they're golden. Anything I find history-wise, DVD, or because they always had those big-ass sets too, right? They're always selling on Time Life or whatever, and someone gets rid of them and they think they're no good. I think they're pretty damn good, man. Like, I even have right here next to me, one of my tools is I've got old school VHS/DVD combo that has an HD component out right here that I have hooked up, that if I want to grab something, I can grab it and screen grab it. That's the asshole I am.
I don't have. Used to have a bunch of VHS, like videos of like wrestling and fights and all kinds of stuff, but that's like evaporated into the ether somewhere.
I just found.
I don't have a DVD player. I don't have a CD player anywhere.
Dude, you wouldn't believe the vintage tech I have like right in front of me right here for CD players. I've got one that's still in the package from probably like 25 years ago. I found at a thrift shop. Couldn't help. It's got the anti-skip on it, right?
Nice.
And then the other room. It's great, right? The anti-skip. Everybody, if you know about the anti-skip, you're not John and I's generation. Clearly, you have no idea how big that was. You know what I mean? Big on the anti-skip. You actually start doing stuff with it.
You have to like walk around with it otherwise.
I've got CDRs. I got a Magic Writer USB CD drive that basically here's some real dork shit. Okay. I've got a little one right here. You can't get drives anywhere anymore, right? So this is actually my portable drive, just in case somebody has old media, and it's a DVD and it's a writer, blah 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 blah. But the problem with those is that a lot of times when you burn discs, they automatically burn too fast, even if you try to set them slow, and they don't get read by certain things. And when I used to pirate Dreamcast games, and I have a real Dreamcast. I've got like an HD out thing on it upstairs. I got this fucking crazy setup. When I used to go burn them, you could only do it at slow speed. So you need something like that if you want to take the Dreamcast games, burn them, and have like the entire collection or whatever. And that's for like a lot of things, guys. That's as dork level. You think me reading like the MK Ultra documents is dork level? You have no idea. We haven't scratched the surface.
Oh man.
When John Fitch was putting chokes on people, I was taking apart computers, guys, and I was like, oh, the RAM goes there. Oh my God. Speaking of which, we're actually going to get some fights coming up, Fitch.
Yep.
You know, this is mixed.
Yeah.
And by the way, man, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but I had lunch with Militich this week, and we were talking about something, and I was just like, why aren't you, I, and Fitch in Japan calling the Ryzen fights or the Risen fights or whatever? I don't even know, because they don't really have any kind of real presence, and the two guys that they have do it, like, that was another thing that really irked me about the replay, is that they didn't even ship Morrow and John there to be there live to give it any kind of flavor, right?
Yeah.
They have a really...
the whole thing was a very weird... You know, why do that those hours? Why would Risen have those guys come over and beat their guys up in front of all of their fan base? Why would Coker have those guys go over and beat those guys up if nobody, it was a Bellator fan, was going to get to watch the fight, really? You know, and they're not going to watch it live.
Like I said,
it seems strange. Like they should have adjusted the time, maybe so both.
Well, again, I think they should do two
fights a little bit.
I think they should do two events next year, one in America, one there, and that way they run and they have like some kind of deal where you can watch all of them live. There has to be a way to do that, period, especially for the hardcores.
They should create a sanctioning belt between them and ONE FC and KSW, and they create their own.
KSW's cards are still pretty fun, man.
And then they can send their guys twice a year to fight the super fight.
You know, they don't get enough credit, but KSW cards are fun too. Pujanowski just got beat up in one. Watch that one. You know, especially when you're hurting for MMA. They are having a weird time because they were originally supposed to have one of those cards in Korea. It was supposed to be obviously in South Korea, but then who was it? The Korean Zombie couldn't do it. They had to bring it to the Apex Center, but I think the main card doesn't start, or the prelims don't start until 7 p.m. and the main card doesn't start till midnight Eastern. Which is a couple hours back. Whatever. We got one coming up at 3 o'clock. Prelims, I can't wait. That's this Saturday. I still don't think there's any Bellator, is there?
Not yet. What is it? This one, Imamov and Gastelum.
That's I thought Strickland's in there now.
Oh, Strickland. Oh, they switched him out.
Pretty sure.
Oh man.
Yeah. Strickland versus Ivanov now with Ige and Jackson as the co-main. Let's bring up the entire card for everybody. It's been a while since we had some MMA on this mixed martial mindset. So yeah, looks like
Vontae Davis did fight this past weekend and won. Of course, she's pretty dang good.
In what?
Boxing.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Kopolov. So you Raquel Pennington. I like that versus Vieira. That's a tough fight. There you go. That's your sleeper for fight of the night right there. Vieira Pennington. I'm really interested. I wish I had the odds on that fight. I like that fight a lot. Let's see.
Umar's up. Have you heard? This was brought to my attention last night during my stream, but there's rumors that Khabib is talking about stepping away from MMA altogether.
You know what? You'd know him better than I would, right? Like, let's talk about it.
Well, I haven't talked to him. I haven't talked to anybody. I haven't been over to AK in a long time. You know, I've been coaching some other places, and
I get it, but like, you at least got an insight. Let's talk about it like this. The guy obviously is a unique personality in that he is extremely devout to his culture and his religion. He climbed every mountain. You got to watch some of that climb. Is it so crazy that he's made the right investments and maybe he just doesn't want to be around it anymore and he wants to spend time raising his family and really focus on his kids with that and then maybe bring them back into the mix later? I could totally see that.
Yeah. I mean, I said before that I always get the feeling that he was kind of grossed out by MMA and the people and the slime balls he has to deal with.
You mean he didn't love having to beat the hell out of an alleged violent rapist that everybody thinks is like the best guy ever?
Well, I mean, dealing with the promoters, dealing with the sponsors, dealing with management, you know, it's a lot of snakes. When you have a business model built on corruption, built on conflict of interests, you're going to have slime everywhere. It's just a result. Everything gets dirty. Everything's dirty that you touch. And if he's a really straight and narrow guy, like, he probably can see that, you know, he's doing promotion himself. He's seeing people getting ripped off and screwed over. He's dealing with slimy managers. It's got to, you know, I would think it would turn his stomach. You know, have to deal with. That's why I don't think I could do it. I don't think I couldn't do that job. I couldn't deal with so many slime balls. That's why I want to fix. That's why I want to fix how MMA works, so it doesn't turn my stomach when I want to work.
Here's the problem, though, John. Even if, and obviously, I'm rooting for you to do that. And there's actually a documentary right now out there on Mark Hunt, I recently watched. That obviously is focusing on his suit and the Lesnar fight and the sport in general with PEDs, etc. But when you look at that, everywhere in fighting you have organized crime. You just have, like it's been, no matter what, even when it's decentralized, you've got to admit that. For instance, let's be real. There's so many.
Yeah, I mean, fighting generates a lot of revenue, and a lot of that revenue is washable, so to speak.
So exactly,
it's a big cash business where a lot of money, a lot of cash can trade hands very quickly, with gambling and, you know, fighters and concessions and alcohol, hotels. everything. There's just more money anytime there's an event in town.
Exactly. So and I just want to go through some history so if everybody doesn't think that I'm just blowing smoke here. Obviously, boxing and the casinos, and even you look at somebody like Don King, very cartel-esque. You have the Kinahan family that's heavily involved even now with MMA and boxing, where you literally had an execution at one of the weigh-ins. You have the great Japanese tradition of pride and the Yakuza there. And then I'll never forget it. When Dream was kind of the between that and what Risen is now, and we're going to talk more Risen in a second, I'll never forget the fight where Sexyama ended up losing, but they thought he won, okay, with this head kick, and they made the head kicks illegal because they were too much. By the way, Risen, head kicks galore, the knees on the ground. It's one of the reasons I love it. ONE FC as well. It's good stuff. It really does add another element to everything. Listen, it adds another element. You get moving. Get moving. No stalling, get moving. I'll never forget it. So Sexyama wins, but he doesn't. And this dude who's in the front row in like a almost stereotypical white pimp suit just runs and just jumps on him and hugs him like he's all sweaty. It was a real rough fight. I mean, he was losing. And then he got DQ'd with the comeback kick that was illegal. It's amazing. Again, amazing stuff. So I'm just saying that organized crime is always going to be in the fight game. As long as organized crime exists, it's going to be hard to get it out of the fight game. And that's why a guy like Dana White, and this is how cartel, and this is another reason I can see Khabib going. This is how cartel-like everything is, guys. This is how the world actually works. Dana White's just one guy in a sport with one part of Disney, with one part of a deal. They don't even own every kind of right. Internationally, there's different rights and all that stuff. Nobody at ESPN could say anything about the smack. Nobody. It's nowhere. Think about, and that also shows
disappeared. They sat around and waited a couple days to see what it was going to do to their market shares. There was a slight dip, and it came back up, and they're like, okay, no one cares, and they're going to proceed as usual. Everybody's going to try to forget it didn't happen. People got short memories, and they'll forget. People forget. Another 2 weeks, it'll be like it was 10 years ago.
Well, again, it just shows you how narratives are controlled, and guys like Ari Emanuel do have power, and WME does have
a lot
power.
of Dana White fanboys who are straight up defending him because she hit him first.
Well, again, we had the conversation, right? Levels to this. There's no excusing it, in my opinion, but it's still not like, he beat his girlfriend in an elevator and drug her into, and I only use that example because you see that kind of stuff, or even like the Greg Hardy thing. But then you look at that and like there's a little bit of karma there. I'm just saying, you look at the Fertitta brothers and you get into the fact that you're talking about the Galveston, Texas crime family is where their money comes from. And the reality, I hate to tell everybody the reality of the world, but organized crime exists and is generational and nepotistic and often works arm in arm with politicians and entertainment, as well as the fight game.
Judges, sometimes.
Let's be adults. That's it. So God bless him if he does get out, man. I hope he does, really. He tried at every turn, in my opinion. Number one, he did throw out an Instagram rape post. Good for him. You know what I mean? He threw it right out there. Good for you, Khabib. We appreciate that. But he also wanted to have a big fight in Africa. Like, I guarantee you, if the UFC came to him, so we're going to give you pay-per-view points, we're going to pay you $5 million, peanuts to what this thing would draw. You're going to fight so-and-so for the title. Whether it's, 155 or 170 doesn't matter. He probably hang with both. Take either one, I think, right now. I mean, especially an in shape dude, right? I don't know that anybody beats him. I think he runs through either champ right now. He's that good. And we're gonna do it in Africa just like you wanted. You're gonna pick that place. You can pick the country, and we're gonna do it. And we're gonna have a giant stadium show. It's gonna be a huge spectacle. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Why didn't they do that? Well, because they want more control. They don't want to give that control. They're really not
More
the nicest
control.
people.
He might have been. Who knows, man? He might have been so done with them.
I just remember that press conference where he was talking about how big it would be for the economy there. I guarantee if they gave that to him, what he wanted. First of all, they're always talking about expanding markets. And maybe some of those markets aren't super profitable yet, but eventually they will be, John. You know that. I mean, they're trying to equalize everything. And third world nations have this funny way, especially lately, of turning into second and sometimes first world markets. China in particular, India in particular, in rapid fashion. So to me, it's a matter of control, right? They want as much. Listen, I'm still in awe, John. I'm in fluckle schnuckin' awe that the Saudis of all people, I mean, that's a gangster ass group, came in, invested all this flipping money into the UFC.
Yeah, big money.
Big money. And then when it came time to cash in right before they went public, Ari Emanuel and the gang gave back their initial investment and blamed the Khashoggi ordeal about it. That should show you how crooked everything is.
Oh.
So that they could get into the market and then sign the Disney deal. Hey, everybody.
Clear their name, keep the money.
People think that I'm gonna make that up. Like, Jason, that couldn't have happened. That sounds like some kind of cartoon alterverse. Here it is.
We can't pay you that money we owe you because of what you did to the reporter.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it's insane.
You can do that.
Look, like it's you can't make it up. At least they got the face right. They got it happening. UFC owners returned $400 million investment from Saudi Arabia. And then they cashed in on billions.
Oh, man.
These are high-level gangsters. That's a high-level gangster move.
It is. It's very, it's a very gangster. You guys misbehaved. Here's your investment back. We're keeping the profits. We'll call it even.
It's out of control. Oh yeah, and you know what? I'm seeing this in the chat. You know what? It is very sad. Diamond from Diamond and Silk. I've never been like a conservative fan or a fanboy of that type of podcasting. But apparently she has passed, and another person just kind of, who knows? I'm not even going to say what could or could not have happened there because you just can't talk about.
Yeah, the 18-year-old. That's a shame.
Oh, you're talking about that one. I'm not talking about the one. I'm talking about Diamond and Silk, the podcast. The black women. They were always they went kind of viral during the Trump era.
Yeah.
Diamond dead. But, yeah, but we don't know. We don't even know how the 18-year-old died. They're keeping that pretty shut. You know what?
Yeah, that's really hush hush.
It's big time hush hush. We got 10 minutes or so. This is what I'm going to do, YouTube. Come on over to Rumble. We haven't really grown the Rumble channel. I haven't been advertising enough. Come on over to Rumble. That's where the morning show also streams live. We're trying to get that going more. And we're also on Rockfin if you are a paying subscriber. The links are down below to help the broadcast. These last 10 minutes, I want to show this clip of Naomi Wolf, okay, talking about some Pfizer documents. We can't show it here. That's where I've got to cut it. So, YouTube, I'm going to end the stream right now. Love you guys.